Hi everyone, it's Steph here from the Novelty Corner. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a book haul revisited video. For those who are unfamiliar with this series, every 2 months I look back at the books that I acquired 12 months earlier. So in this case, this video is my November and December book hauls. And then I go through various categories where I look at, have I read these books? Have I kept them? Have I unhauled them? Have I still got them and they're unfinished? I haven't read them yet. And I share that with you. This is a way that I have found to keep myself accountable with my book buying purchases, and it also means that I move through my books fairly quickly, because then I set the challenge for trying to read all of those books that are still unread from 12 months ago in the next 2 months. Hopefully that didn't sound confusing, because it seems that I have forgotten how to introduce this series. I go through all of the books in various categories. I will leave all the timestamps down below so you can jump ahead to different parts of the video if you would like to. We are going to start off with the books that I unhauled unread. There was one called 'Tis the Season, which I think may have been a Mills and Boons little wind-up book that I can't even remember who the authors were. Obviously I didn't read it. And also A River of Royal Blood. I've also forgotten who the author was on this book, but this came, I think, in a fairy loot box, and I didn't read it. It was a young adult fantasy book. I had one book that was read and unhauled, and that was the Marvel Museum book. I actually gave this to a former student who was obsessed with the Marvel films, and he absolutely adored it and shared it with his younger brother, which I thought was really cute. That was a Scholastic review copy. There were 20 books that I read and kept from November and December in 2019. Those books included The Beautiful by Renee Ardier, which I've just recently read in my most recent Books Beside My Bed video. A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the second book in the A Curse So Dark and Lonely series. I acquired the first 3 books in the Diviners series. The Diviners, Lair of Dreams, and Before the Devil Breaks You. These are all young adult, historical, paranormal stories, and they are fantastic. Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. This is the second in the Simon and Baz series. It is young adult fantasy. One book I don't have here with me is 488 Rules for Life by Kitty Flanagan, because one of my girlfriends still has my copy of it and I haven't been able to get it back from her yet. I also read and kept Resistance Reborn by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is one of the Star Wars books. This is set between films 8 and 9. I also acquired the special edition slipjacket collection of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I've shown this book many times. It is very, very pretty. There is Boy Swallows Universe by Trent Dalton. Again, I love this cover so much. I picked up a hardback copy of The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, which I really enjoyed. I just like Erin Morgenstern's writing style. I know it's not for everyone. And this was the special edition that had the items sprayed on the edges. At the same time, I also found a hardback copy of The Night Circus, which was obviously the very first book of hers that I read many, many years ago, and this was just a beautiful edition that I wanted to have on my shelves. I do have the original copy that I bought as well. I picked up The Lost Man by Jane Harper. This is Australian crime fiction. I've lost count of how many editions I have bought of Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang, but this was the most recent one that I acquired at the end of last year. This is a collection of short speculative fiction, and it is a fantastic collection. I acquired 3 books in The Witcher Saga by Andrzej Sapkowski. So there was The Last Wish. I do have another copy of this, but this was the one that had the Netflix tie-in cover. Sword of Destiny, and also Baptism of Fire. I have read all of these plus 2 other books in the series, but I didn't get those until I think January, because they were sold out everywhere. That's what happens when Netflix makes a show of the books and people go nuts. I also read The Bromance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. This was a really fun contemporary romance story told from the male perspective about men who are trying to fix their relationships by reading romance novels and learning from them, which is an adorable concept. And also the third and final book in the Callahans of Stringy Bark Creek series by Carly Lane. This is Return to Stringy Bark Creek, and I really enjoyed this series, so much so that I got blurbed on 2 of the books, which was really, really fun. And finally, the last book that I read and kept was The Wailing Woman by Maria Lewis. This is Australian urban fantasy. This book features banshees and it's great. There were 3 books that I read and kept at school. These were all Scholastic middle grade reads. So I read and reviewed them and then I took them into school. That includes Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, which was a tie-in to the films. There was Forest of Shadows, which was a tie-in to Frozen 2. And also Higher, Further, Faster, which was the Carol Danvers movie tie-in prequel for the MCU. There are 2 books that I have unread but taken into school because they are middle grade books, and I've just added them to the collection because this year I've really not been into reading the middle grade books, possibly because I've moved out of teaching that age group. Also because this year I just really needed specific types of books to get me through the year. So the first one is Malamander and the second one is Wakestone Hall. I may end up bringing them home at some point to read them, but for the moment they're at school. And that leaves me with 5 books left unread from all of the books that I acquired in November and December in 2019, which is pretty good. 3 of those books are the final 3 books in the Witcher saga, so I will be continuing those at some point. So we have Season of Storms, Tower of the Swallow, and The Lady of the Lake. I don't think those are in the right order, but those are the books that I have left to read, so I'll sort out the order when it comes time to read them. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Black Spire by Delilah S. Dawson, and Starsight by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 2 in the Skyward series. So that's it. Those are all the books that I acquired, read, unhauled, didn't read in November and December last year. I am really pleased with how I'm getting through books quicker now, and I'm grateful that I only have 5 books left from last year's TBR to read before the end of the year, because that's doable for me. In the comments below, let me know if you have read any of these books or if you're planning on reading them in the future. Otherwise, feel free to share anything about any of your favorite books. I love hearing what you guys are reading, what you're doing, how your reading life is going. So feel free to share that down below. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks everyone.